Cha-cha-cha. The fire is hot. Ooh, Heather, it is warm out here in these Aries streets.
It is. I
My God.
I've noticed, and I am honed in on this shit, but I fucking feel like when it's Aries season, the drivers are way more aggressive. I feel like I'm
Girl.
constantly getting the finger, getting cut off. Like it
Mm,
is dirty out there.
it's aggressive out here. Yes. That is so funny that you say that. Obviously, I don't drive here. I
Right.
take public transportation in New York City, but the people on the sidewalks, in the subways, I literally got shoulder checked so hard by a girl going against the flow of traffic just because I could see it. Like she was so annoyed. It was all over her face. She was just trying to get the fuck out of the subway station. She's going up the stairs against traffic. She's like trying to go around. And I'm like, we're about to, yep. Oops, ow. Like literally, it was so slammed and crowded. She would have knocked my ass over if the stairs weren't that crowded. Then I like couldn't fall over because there were that many people.
Oh my
And
God.
I had a moment of being like, I want to punch her in the face, but it's Aries season and people are just, we're having commotions. We're feeling
Mm-hmm.
commotions. We're feeling the chaos. Let her be aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just so funny that because obviously I don't experience traffic in the same way, but I
No, but I'm sure it's
people have
manifesting.
been cut off by people on the sidewalk and getting like the bird. I know they're giving me the bird in their minds. If they don't just give it to me while we're walking.
Mm-hmm.
Um
I was in a
anyway,
yeah, I was I was looking for parking forever in the Trader Joe's parking lot, which is always like notoriously tiny in LA. I feel like a Trader Joe's
right.
parking lot with my friends Jake and Nicola, and we were circling and circling and there were no spots, and I was like, is someone gonna leave? And I was waiting for someone, and then it turned out they weren't leaving. They were just taking a long
Uh
time parking, and so I did
the
more circling, and
worst.
then finally I found someone who was leaving, and there was no one else like around them. So I was like, mine, mine. And I was like standing right, like with my car right behind them. And then another car comes in from the side and acts
No.
like they have the right.
Oh, the
And
worst.
car's pulling out, and it's kind of in my favor, the direction that the car is pulling out in. But then the car on the side starts coming in, and Jake goes honk honk, like they're like, go for it, go for it. And I if Jake hadn't like screamed honk, I probably would have done it. But I was like, "Yes," and I like honked, and I was like, and I dove in there, put it in park.
You
The
have
rest is history.
to. You have
Yeah.
to. Yeah. And like where I work, that's so funny. And wow, I forgot about the Trader Joe's parking lot. And
Every
it's
parking lot is like a nightmare, but
well, I
we
swear every
digress.
time I'd go into that Trader Joe's parking lot, like there'd be someone in a fender bender. It's such an awkward shape. It's
Mm-hmm.
always slammed. Um, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And that has, oh, the moments in LA when you have your parking spot snatched from out under you. It is so oof
Are we
because
still at FSU? Like, what the
like
fuck?
come
Like,
on, is the student parking?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I absolutely I feel that. And I work in an area that's very busy and touristy and like so the sidewalks are always crowded with people no matter what. Um and I'm always like zipping around and like going around them. But like when it is raining in New York City and the umbrellas are out
Oh
too, no one
no.
can see each other because everyone's using the umbrellas. People are poking your eyes out because the umbrellas
Oh.
are never raised high enough. Like you're literally side swiping umbrellas with people and I was just like I was feeling the Aries rage. I had to get on the train and breathe. Of all places, the train is where I meditated or tried to. My God, it really is Aries season. Like it is
Yeah.
just I'm feeling my and not to say that Aries is aggressive, but I'm more feeling like I want to literally honk my horn. I like wish me all the
Yeah.
horns while I'm walking on the sidewalk. I want to be like beep beep Keep it
Yeah,
moving.
yeah,
You
fiery.
are, you're just getting cut off and you're getting like people are just like slamming on their brakes in front of you
Mhm.
or coming down your lane the wrong way. It's kind of funny. But
Mhm.
anyways, this
Mhm.
Aries season is definitely it's sparky. We're in the peak of it. We truly are. It's quite ignited, if you will.
Yeah, astrologers are saying it's like kind of we've had this I think last year an Aries solar eclipse in April.
Mm.
And we've been riding this Aries Libra eclipse season theme for at least it was happening last year. Yeah, it was last year I think when the nodes switched and the eclipses are always our interaction with the nodes. So the nodes are in Aries and Libra. So, I've been dealing with these themes and I kind of just lost my train of thought. But
And that's
oh,
on
oh,
Mercury
oh,
in retrograde.
right, right. That's what I was going to say is that astrologers are saying like this year it's kind of extra active. I mean, the month of
Mhm.
April is like the most active month of all of 2024, astrologers are saying. Because we have the
Wow.
Mercury in retrograde. Mercury's retrograding through Aries while we have an Aries solar eclipse on April 8th. And then um also Uranus and Jupiter in conjunction, like a transit that only happens every 14 years. That also Mars, Aries ruling planet, is going to interact with soon. And there's just like a lot going on. So it's like
Yeah.
especially Aries heightened Aries season.
It
And it feels that
100%.
way to me at
Y-
least.
yes, that's what I was gonna say. A lot of like I had like a really weird day the other day, and I was having a whole moment of like, okay, it is Aries season. Absolutely. Things are just a little charged up. Everyone's a little more fiery with it, right? But then I also was like, and it's Mercury in retrograde, and we're charged up to have this huge solar eclipse in like a few days. And it was all I was just having this thought because I truly had to take a deep breath because I was like, what's going on today? And then I truly was like, oh, that's right. Mercury's retrograding on top of an Aries season. And don't forget about that solar eclipse next week. Like it was all loaded. It all feels very layered. And it hit me that I was like, Jesus, this like Aries season, this whole month of April is just loaded. It is layered, it is loaded, it is energetically charged up. And it's like, all of this is happening in this overall new age of
Right.
Aquarius.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything feels like just being in a brand like we're so close to that recent transition
Mm-hmm.
that everything does just feel a lot more extra oomph. Oomph.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It does.
Am I
It
saying that
does.
right? Oomph. Can't
Oomph.
do it.
Yeah.
Ump. Oomph. Oh,
That's like
okay.
a
Mercury in retrograde.
beatbox. Yeah, yeah.
And
um, yeah, yeah, it's pretty intense. Um,
not in a negative way, but it's just like it's charged up. There's
yeah.
and especially in New York right now too, like we're in that flip floppy, literally physically, the atmosphere, the environment around us, we're kind of flip flopping back and forth into this like these rainy, cold, dreary winter days before, and then we're getting these like peaks of like beautiful spring days.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of in the transition and going a little back and forth before spring is finally just like taking over.
Mhm.
Like the other night I saw my breath. I said it's April.
Oh, God, I'm
What's going on?
sorry.
But then just the other day, it was like the most beautiful, gorgeous spring day. So it truly is. It would have been more upsetting if it hadn't just been a lot warmer and beautiful weather. So all
Yeah.
that to say though that like it does feel like, again, we kick off in this Aries fiery time. It's a new birth of astrology. That's another thing. This is the astrological new year on top of everything else. Everything's
Mhm.
fresh. So Aries feels extra like freshened, charged. She has all these added like layers and big movements in her
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
It's also a brand new, fresh astrological new year. We're really setting the tone for the entirety, it feels like,
Yeah.
of this astrological new year with
Yeah.
this month.
Yeah. Do you
Go.
also feel like I guess I remember this last year, but I feel like this year, like I don't have enough hours in the day or honestly enough energy to do everything that I have to do. And it feels like, and that's another thing that they say is like a key Aries theme is like busyness. Like
Mm,
my Aries grandmother and Joan Rivers have said the same thing. That's like, well, Joan Rivers is not an Aries sun, she has Aries rising, but the whole thing of like an empty calendar is the death of me. Or like I just have to like do action, action, action. Like I want, to fill my day. I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna put on my makeup, I'm gonna put on a nice outfit, like, and I'm going to do stuff all day. Like that to
wow.
me is very Aries. And I feel like as a Taurus moon, Aquarius, Pisces person, like I do not, I like to take my time. I like to have some rest. Like I'll do shit, but in a Taurus way. Um,
Right.
and yeah, I feel like the universe lately has just been like, gotta do. Like, here's more stuff to put on your plate. Like, you
Right.
know,
Absolutely. It's funny that you bring that up too, Heather, because I was just thinking about how it's been a very busy social calendar for me this month.
mm-hmm.
A lot of birthdays, a lot of like social obligations that are fun, but like definitely like, oh shit, haven't had like a minute to sort of rest. And like
Yeah.
as a Pisces, as a Pisces Taurus person myself, little Gemini sprinkled in, of course. I also am someone I'm like, I need a little rest. I gotta balance
Yeah.
this out. But yeah, it felt very like, or it's just felt very loaded in that way. Things are, yeah, picking up or getting busier. And I'm similar to you where I'm like, I need the days off here and there though. I
Oh
need
my
the recharge,
God.
the
I
balance.
do. Yeah. I am
But
not.
it does. It's funny that you bring that up too, because I feel like a lot of Aries people I know love staying busy. Like having their calendar full is what brings them peace, is what brings them comfort. And that does make a lot of sense. I feel like fire can
Yeah.
be a very more time, 9 times out of 10, a fire sign is pretty extroverted. And it makes sense to me that that recharge would come from socializing.
Yeah.
Um, but specifically like staying busy. And it's like
Yeah.
it reminds me of that youngness to Aries, or almost not that I'm trying to say that's an immature thing, but when I think of always when I really needed to stay busy and just had that no worries, like no work, no stuff, like in throughout high school and college, yeah, my calendar was full. That was the point. If there wasn't, I wanted to look forward to something every weekend. I was
Right.
excited
Right.
about something that wasn't school every weekend.
Yeah.
And there's like a youngness to Aries with that. This is what I love about fire. They're so youthful in their spirit. And it
Yes.
reminds me of like, I feel like as you age, you just you have other obligations, you get older, you're working, that creates a lot of stress that then makes you like, I'd honestly just rather wake up early. In college I was like, yeah, I can be hungover or still drunk to class the next day.
Uh-huh.
Like what was no, of course I'm gonna drink on a weekday. And then
Right.
I've since then have had to literally grow out of that for my
Yeah.
own physical health. And it's like, wow, I'm at an age where it's genuinely more enjoyable to not wake up hungover. Imagine that. But
Right.
like, this is what I love about fire signs. The energy is always down. The energy is action. It is let's fucking do it. Let's fucking go. That sounds fun. It's like they follow the fun, they follow the excitement, which is in the doing. It's in the
Mm-hmm.
action.
Mm-hmm.
Fire signs aren't going to be content just talking about it. They want to see it followed through on because that's where
Yeah.
the funness is. And that to me is so youthful. It's so like
Totally.
free. And
Yeah. I also think they just like have more energy too. Like I don't know.
okay, also that. Yes, absolutely. I
Right?
think fire just like they're on permanent Adderall.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I was on Reddit the other day and someone was like talking about rising signs. I don't know, Sagittarius rising came up and they were like, "Wow, I'm always jealous of the Sag risings I know because they just like have endless energy." I don't know. I wanted that to be more profound, but just like but
Well,
it's true. The
they're
Sag
like
risings
just
I know. It's
down.
yeah, it's just like yeah, down. It's true. It's true.
It just feels like um and not to be like fires don't think, but it's like they're already so in tune with their journeys, half the fun. The getting there aspect is like the patience they have because it's like they know that's where the fun is going to be I just feel like they're a sign that's like, this is why everyone needs a fire bestie in their
Mm-hmm.
life to push them to do something that they would be comfortable not doing. A fire is not afraid to go out of the comfort zone because it's going to be fire in any
Yes.
zone it's in. It's like
Yes.
every zone is a fire's comfort because they're fire. And I
Yes.
envy that. And it's like there's a confidence to be able to, like, we can go do anything we want. Like that's a
Uh-huh.
beautiful idea and a thought. Me, I'll overthink it. I'll think of all the reasons
Yeah.
why I could stay in, and then I'll bend the knee to myself and be like, yeah, let's just stay in. But a fire is like the moment it feels like the thought is there, the action has to follow through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that would be, I feel like a fire sign is almost constantly in one of those like pick your adventure books. Like
Yeah.
once the adventure's been picked, it's like that's what we're doing. Like, I don't know. It
Totally.
always just,
Totally.
it's like any moment is could be a magical moment. Any moment could be the opportunity for some fun, from some
Yeah.
fiery excitement. And
Mm-hmm.
and again, it just is a beautiful, refreshing, very influential in a lot of great ways. Those fire signs, the fire energy.
I love it. I could use more of it for sure.
Me
Is
too.
you have Venus and Aries,
Yes,
and is that your only fire?
that is my only. Let me go to the notes, Heather. I apologize
I
because
feel
I've got
like
it saved right here, of course.
at one point I
Um,
thought you had another Aries placement, but I think it was just the Venus, and now I don't.
It is just Venus, yeah, is my only fire. And it's my only fire, yeah, is
But
Aries.
that's still substantial because Venus is a
What a
personal
huge
planet.
placement to have it. Yeah.
Yeah, that still
Yeah.
counts for a lot. Yeah.
I definitely, like, it shocked me that I only had one fire placement. But then once I learned exactly where it was and what that sort of overall means, right? I was like, oh, that's a heavy loaded placement to have it in, right? Again,
Mm.
real quick here for the beginners, Heather, if you
Yes.
don't mind, I'll do a little explanation. So again,
Yeah, yeah.
folks, listeners, folks, uh, when you look up your birth chart, when you put your information in and your chart spits back out to you, right? Whether that be on, I think I got this from Astro Theme, actually, right? You could put your own information into Astro
Yeah,
Theme.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's where I got this chart because once you had told me about Astro Theme, that became sort of like my go-to. Um, oh wait, it says astro.com.
Which is oh no, astro.com is Astro Dance, my favorite website.
Okay, so I knew
That's
I
the
knew.
shorthand. Yeah.
Okay, so I knew I went to something that you trusted. Um,
Yes.
but then again, because there are um the houses, right? We have 12 different houses. Um, and again, we have 9 planets, so some of those move around, yada yada.
Hmm.
All those houses have a significance,
Hmm.
and everyone has 12 houses, and that's like more layers to the birth chart. So I've created a whole notes app to remind myself because it's a lot to keep up with just off like the top of your head.
It is.
um so again, for my listeners, Venus, for example, this is like the planet of love and romance, money, beauty, art, the way you express
Values.
desires. Yes,
Yes.
the way you express your values, your desires. That was literally the next word I had. Passions, how you relate and experience pleasure, a big part of that too. And yes, so I happen to have Aries there. But folks, listeners, we all have a Venus. And that's why when you break down these different houses and what they sort of represent and mean in your chart, this is where you really start to get more in depth with yourself and your placements. And when I learned, I had like a, Heather, do you remember when I had like not a panic attack, but I had a moment of clarity of like, forget my fucking Pisces sun. Forget my big three. I am my Aries and Venus. Like that is who I am.
Yeah.
But again, I'm a Pisces sun. So a lot of my actions, motivations, my emotions come from the things that really uh that are passionate to me. Love is a very
Yeah.
big emotion that I feel and is a guiding force. So it only makes sense to me once I sort of broke it all down. I'm like, oh, no wonder the Aries and Venus, especially with someone who has my big three. So it's not like the big three, but this is like when we joke, Heather, about like the big three is like almost nothing when you break down the houses, but it's
Yeah.
not fully true. The big three are absolutely relevant. but this is what we mean when it's like there's so much depth in just that, what your birth chart contains.
Totally, especially with Venus, Mercury, and Mars that all work with
Mhm.
the sun, like
The closer
support,
planets,
yeah,
right?
support the
Yeah.
sun, the personal planets. They like really, you can see it in your personality. Like
Mhm.
sometimes, like if I don't know, if you were a Pisces but you had Venus, Mars, and Mercury in Aries, you really might come off way more as an Aries. Like and you
Right.
know, there's people like that, and then there's a reason why they're like, oh, I don't identify with my sun sign. It's like, yeah, bitch.
We
Um,
know.
yeah.
And that's just it too, especially where my Pisces is located. I'm already so close to Aries. I like to, again, this year, Aries, the start of Aries happened on my birthday, and I'm a third deacon Pisces. So, like,
Right.
um, that plays. So it's just interesting. Real quick, Heather, too, before we move on to the chart, I wanted to ask you, is your Leo rising your only
My only fire.
fire?
I had an astrologer look at my birth chart and she was like, you need fire. Like, you should live in a hot place. I was like, check. You should surround yourself with fire people. Everyone tells me I should date a fire sign. I like,
Mhm.
but it's true because I too get in. But when my Leo rising is ruling you know, steering the ship, I love it because I can, but it's like after like years and years of just like thinking and, you know, sitting in bed that I'm finally like, all right, gotta take action. But
Mm.
yeah, I wish I had an actual planet in fire. I do. So much Pisces.
I hear that, sister. Should we
Oh,
pause here really quick?
yes. I didn't even realize.
One, two, three. Ah, yes. Action. And again, I love that we brought up, Heather, this like where we have fire placements individually. Again, listeners, even if you have zero effing fire placements, Aries season still affects you in its
Yes.
fiery ways.
It's the beautiful
There's
thing.
that is the beautiful thing, is that we still get to always participate in the energy that we lack. And especially like me, for example, knowing I don't have a ton of fire, I am trying to be a little more actions oriented during this fiery season because I know that that will be rewarded.
Totally.
Not that you have to, but it is just like if there's ever a season you're going to take some actions in and maybe do like less thinking about, not trying to say bad choices or anything like that, not thinking before you act, but instead, if there's something you've been wanting to do for a while, like a hobby, instead of just planning it, like this is a beautiful time to jumpstart it, so to speak.
Right.
Opportunities that have been knocking, it's a beautiful time to open the door and see what's up, because it's in the flow of the energy we're in. And I love that.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
do.
point. Yeah, Aries starts off a whole new cycle. So they say to start stuff when the sun is transiting your first house.
Mm.
Because it's the same thing. It's like you're gonna, you know, deal with whatever you initiate then, or it just gives like extra initiatory energy to the cycle you're about to go through for when it travels through the next 11 houses. But same thing for Aries, like, and depending on where Aries falls in your chart, what house might dictate like what area of life you're initiating something, but it's a good time to initiate stuff. Um, when
And
you
real
were,
quick, Heather, I'm so
Mhm.
sorry. I'm so
No, no,
sorry.
no.
Just real quick, while you talk
Yeah.
about that, correct me if I'm wrong, but everyone's first house is their rising sign,
Yes,
correct?
yes. So
So you can always sort of do the math from there a little bit. Or if,
true.
again, if you know the like where the astrological signs are, I've been trying to remind myself of that for when I'm thinking
Right.
about. Okay, sorry. Just wanted to make sure I
Yeah,
was right
no.
in that.
So your Taurus rising, Aries falls in the 12th.
It just
I'm Leo
mathematically goes from there.
rising, Aries
Yeah.
falls in the 8th. Yeah.
Wow. So
Um,
Aries is my last house. My 12th. No.
well, it might, and then if you're not doing whole sign, it kind of varies. So I think you might have some Aries like starting in the 11th, but technically I think Aries rules your 12th, I think.
I won't get too into it.
Yeah, anyway.
Anyways, but I just wanted to make
But
sure
no,
about
you're
the
right. You're
rising.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, sorry. What were
Well,
you gonna say?
when you mentioned being the last deacon of Pisces, I remembered something from the astrology podcast that I was listening to this morning that made me excited. Also, they pronounced it Decan
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not sure. Sometimes I like say things for years and then I'm like, oh my God, I bet like stellium or stellium, deacon or decan, Chiron or Chiron, I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, they were saying that I guess on Wordle, like the New York Times word game that everyone plays, decan was one of the main like words that people could use and everyone was apparently
What
like
is
there
that?
were a shit ton of people that chose that as a word, which they
Wow.
were saying on the astrology podcast, like, is evidence that way more people understand the intricate language of astrology than ever before. Like that it like because it's
That
not
is so
spelled like deacon
exciting.
like a church member. It's spelled Decan.
Right? That
So
is 5 letters. That
yeah.
is 5 letters. That is so fucking fun. Or
Yeah.
so like
Yeah, I love it.
exciting. And especially because like Wordle, I feel like is very popular in our Western culture. Like it's it's a New York Times fucking thing. I'm
Right.
sure it's being played not just in our country, of course, but like it definitely started here. Oh, it was a very much like an American
Yeah.
concept and thing. Um, so that to me also speaks to how, specifically the Western hemisphere probably is what's playing it more. So how much the trickled down effect of
Mm-hmm.
the astrology language.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very exciting stuff.
Yeah, just wanted to
What a
mention that.
yes, a very fun anecdote to share, Heather. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I got a little bit of chills.
I know, love
I'm like,
it.
and I would like to think we had a little something to do with that.
You know, and Casey Musgrave's album and
Hello.
SZA's song and Ariana Grande's
Mhm.
album and all of astrology everywhere.
All of it. All of it. It's all over my TikTok knows exactly who I am. That shit is all over my For You page
Mm-hmm,
and my
mm-hmm.
Instagram as well. I'm not mad about it. I am
No,
not
it's a
mad about it.
great time to be alive when you put it that way.
Yeah.
It's like in summer sex. Anyway.
And with that, Heather, shall we jump right into this fiery birth chart?
Yes, 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 yes. I'm
I
excited.
I know we both love this haughty Aries individual. Speaking of big three, their big three really speaks to me. I know I've never met them personally, but it was so exciting to see their big three when I did know it because it absolutely tracked to the reality character that I see played on TV in a way that I'm like, I really hope this is not an act. I'm not getting that this is like a bad actor vibes. This person does truly exude this warmth and this energy. Um, the one and only Jonathan Van Ness.
You know who did meet him in person?
You.
No, no.
What
But Bianca Wiesler,
Oh my God, shouts
shouts
the fuck
out.
out. Shouts out Bianca.
Bianca has like an Instagram picture with him, I think, through work, through being in the beauty
Oh, that's
industry.
right. I think you did tell me about that. And
Yeah.
like, but you know what I mean? I know that yes, reality television, a lot of times those people are playing like themselves. So it's like,
Dramatized version sometimes, or
right.
yeah.
Or it's like they should be those people that you meet in real life. But then it
Yeah.
does turn, Kristen fucking um
Cavallari.
Cavallari. I almost said Chenoweth.
Also an Aries, right? Or Capricorn, Aries moon. I don't know. I think she's a Capricorn Aries moon. I take it back. I take it
I
back.
do think she's Cap.
She's a
I
Capricorn. Yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah.
not unfortunately. But there's fire, 100%, and there's and those and not just like one placement. It's like, or if it is one placement, it's very strong. Um, but she like she was one of the first people to be like, we're playing characters of ourselves. I'm not actually a bitch. I'm letting reality television call me that and make me that because we make a fuck ton of money doing this. And like, and she was like, and they're like she has since had more of a perspective on it, obviously, than she like had the very cavallari reality TV show where she was much older to make that like choice. And it got to be, she got to be a producer on it, got to have a lot more control than when she was 18 on MTV. Anyways, it's just, she's said this loud and proud from the beginning that like reality television, you were playing a character of yourself. Like they put you into a box. No one's like, not one person is this, like, they've got to simplify it in some way, yada, yada, yada. But Jonathan Van Ness is someone that I'm like, God, I really hope that that's not just like a character. Like it really feels like that is them. Like that is their personality, who they are. He's just such a warm, incredible little being with that. So again, Aries sun, obviously, but then the Pisces moon comes in, and that you really see that role, especially on Queer Eye. Um,
Mm.
like, yes, Jonathan's role is doing the hair. Do you know how personal that is? Like,
Yeah.
it's your hair. And like, do you know how many times I've opened up and cried to a hairdresser, not because they did a bad job, just because it's like I feel like some of the deepest, weirdest conversations I've had have been momentarily in someone's fucking chair at hair, like
For
that
me, it's when I
connection.
get my vag waxed,
Okay,
but
see? Similar.
similar.
Similar. Very
Same,
similar.
yeah, same thing.
Different car, exact same lane. Yes, very good, Heather. Yep. Um, but like, and then like the like, some people are like that is one of the most emotional categories out of the five. It does feel like I always see people cry
Makes
during the hair
sense. It makes
moment.
sense.
Like,
It's such
and
a, yeah.
Jonathan really takes care of them in that way, knowing that that's such a vulnerable place for a lot of people is their hair, how much
Mm-hmm.
emphasis, our society puts on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he just does it with such grace and carefulness, and his warmth exudes. And it does feel like it's how he, his Pisces moon connects. I really feel Pisces from him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I also really feel his Aries. He's absolutely
Yeah.
extroverted. He's action. He's literally a cheerleader. Let's fucking go, bitch. Let's do it.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
very, let's do it. We've got each other. Let's go,
Mm-hmm.
and this is obviously like the character that he plays, the character that he essentially is obviously also not someone who was just like, yes, born this way. Thank you, Lady Gaga. But I mean, like, he's dealt with hardships. You know that he's now in an adult who's gone through that Saturn return. He's gone through the phase. He's very secure in who he is. But that only comes from a place of like, everyone has their trauma, of course, but like the way he also is just such an advocate for something that was not the best for him growing up, how much he's been a voice in like LGBTQ plus, like,
Mm-hmm.
just and that he's from a time where that wasn't the easiest. It's still not the easiest. It's only getting better and better. He's just amazing. Gemini rising, that's where also the
Come
chattiness.
on. I know. I feel
uh
like words just come out of him so effortlessly. And he also does stand up. He tours doing comedy.
he's so funny.
And did not Game of Thrones, Game of Boners? No, he had a thing before Queer Eye that was like a Game of Thrones like spoof almost. That is like how he got discovered
Ah, okay.
or how he became like an entertainer. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, but it gives me Aries Gemini, kind of
Yep.
like very bold, just like not afraid to like express who you are in a fiery way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, action oriented, totally. But then I listened to Jonathan on the Diary of a CEO podcast that I love, and they really went deep. And it was like, yeah, there's been some trauma, there's been some hardships for sure. And like, I feel like there's a really strong Aries Gemini exterior, but like when
Right.
you unpack, it's like, wow, lots of vulnerability and like depth.
And I feel like he is someone like specifically with him in his chart. And like, I know I just kind of made a joke about how the big three aren't shit, but truly his big three all speak to me.
Oh my
And I
God.
feel like he is, he's quite literally created a random ass career from himself. Like, this isn't necessarily something that like I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be one of the stars on this reality television show. Um, where me and a team of fabulous gay men come on in and like completely transform someone's life for the better. Like that wasn't a blueprint for him to necessarily follow. And what an incredible and like original and very unique and just I think the perfect job for him. Like, quite
Mhm.
literally, the Gemini rising gets to chat and connect and literally talk to people on a vulnerable level, talk to people on a deep level. That Pisces moon gets like so fulfilled because, yes, it's a reality TV show, but out of a lot of the reality TV shows, it's absolutely one of the ones that you feel good after watching. Um, Not to say that reality TV show, it
No,
doesn't feel
you're
good, but
fine. You're
it's
fine.
nasty
Yeah,
by any,
yeah.
like, I'm not obviously like, it's been actually a minute since I've watched Queer Eye in a way that I've, just watched the Kardashians. Not trying to say that can't feel good after a reality
Yeah,
show, but in
yeah.
the way that it's designed, like I tear up, like I'm moved, like it's
Yeah.
really like it feels extra, extra positive. Whereas a lot of reality TV can feel like it's like, what can we manipulate to like ruin this person's life and record it for
It's
my
true.
benefit?
It's
Um,
true.
Anyways, but yeah, like he really exudes. And then his Aries outgoing, like, let's fucking get it. Like, I'm going to be myself where I am. And yeah, it just it's rare, I feel like, that someone's big three is fully feels applied. I feel like a lot of times, we'll see these charts and it's like, oh, I'm surprised to see this element there. But I could see underneath a lot of the layers how it does manifest itself with him. It's like, oh, I absolutely see his big three. And I'm sure it's not all sunshine and fucking rainbows, but I do feel like Jonathan Van Ness, like, this is his timeline. Like, this is his best life. Like, we are witnessing someone living their best life in a lot of ways. And you never really
Yeah.
know someone, but if you're going to be famous for being like such a positive, beautiful person inside and out, like, I don't know. I just love him. I really do. And
Yeah.
it's been extra exciting to see his birth chart because I'm like, this is who's on the screen. Like, this is
Totally,
exactly how I
totally.
feel.
He was
Like,
the
I
same in the interview that I listened to where you really don't have to perform. I mean, most people go on there and it's just very like deep and, you know, human
mhm.
and yeah, totally.
He just feels like
Um
he's him.
yeah, absolutely. Which
Like
I
Aries
yeah,
again. Like, he's
Aries.
like,
I'd
I don't
argue
have a
you get
choice.
that with Aries. Yeah, yeah,
This is just
totally.
kind
I
of
mean,
it.
Gemini
And
too, but yeah.
right.
Well, Gemini is the two sides, but Aries, absolutely. But also, I think it's cool because I also know that Jonathan's very passionate about his like hair care products and that he's
Mm.
put a lot of energy into creating products that are affordable, that work, and on the Diary of a CEO podcast, he was like, I just think that when your hair looks good, you feel better about everything. And it's really
Uh,
important to me to make it affordable and to like use good products. And he's like very prideful about it. And think it's really cool that Venus, the planet of beauty, whenever someone's in like the beauty industry, there's usually a really strong
mm.
Venus or Libra or Taurus presence. And we have Venus
Ah.
right on the midheaven, which is the career point, like literally a degree apart in Aquarius. And then Mars in Taurus, which is also squaring the Venus and midheaven. So there's that too. It's like a dynamic chart, but I'm noticing like in all the little bits how yeah, how it manifests.
Much he
And
is his chart.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. And yeah, like just but there's like lots of parts to what he does and there's lots of
Right.
parts to the chart. But yeah, and then Sun Jupiter conjunction is like so awesome. I think that Travis Kelsey has that, or we've talked about someone
Stop.
who I would love to have a Sun Jupiter conjunction. But
Mm.
that's such a like
The
wants
luck,
to
right?
inspire lucky, yes, and like energetic and optimistic, but also like can inspire people. So I feel like Queer Eye, like that configuration is such a has such a platform on something like Queer Eye because it's just like exuberant, wants to help, wants to be generous, wants to inspire, like and there's like a spiritual kind of philosophical Sagittarian quality to Jupiter. So it's like wanting to
And like,
inspire people to expand and be their best selves, like absolutely.
right. But like, okay, so I know sorry, Heather, I didn't mean to get ahead of myself, but like, I know we've talked about this before where there is kind of like there's a conversation revolving around like self-help and like there's just, throw a rock, you're gonna hit a self-help coach or someone who claims to like be
Right.
one in that respect. And a lot of spiritual, I think it can sometimes listen. Again, as someone who looks at everything black and white and doesn't necessarily can see both sides, blah, blah, blah. Not to quote Oscar Lemus, shouts out, fucking neutral ass looking ass. But like, there's something about the queer eyes, the queer eye guys that like does feel like, what the fuck else would Jonathan Van Ness be doing? Yes, he's making money from this show, absolutely, but the authenticity is so there. And again, he was already at a level of like you said, was already doing something before this. All of them were kind of already doing something before this. That's why they're on the show, obviously. But to see him sort of fall into this thing that I just, especially from his chart, know that he's getting actual fulfillment. And one thing I wanted to add is yes, like this man is a fucking literal cheerleader. Like I mean that in the most respectful way. He did actually cheer and he's a great
Mm,
tumbler.
makes
But I
sense.
more
Yes.
mean like that's what you know that he's a great cheerleader for others because it just so authentically feels like it's coming from a place where he's had to do this for himself. Like the
Mhm.
things that he's sharing with people, the way he's connecting with them is from a place of this is what he did for him. Like learn again the oxygen mask, right? Like you can just like what I really feel from him is Jonathan Van Ness was his first and probably only cheerleader before anyone else was. Now he's popular, famous, people love him. He's an inspiration for so many reasons, but it's like comes from a place where like you can tell this man had to fucking really be that for himself. And all
Right.
these things that he's sharing and helping others with like he did this with I don't, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like
Totally.
I
Yes,
just feel like he
totally.
exudes authenticity.
Yeah.
Um which is so rare to find in Hollywood, let alone a reality TV show.
Mhm.
And again though, that Pisces fucking moon, shouts out to Kourtney
Can't help
Kardashian,
it.
who's all about authenticity. Respectfully. But like I can just it was again it's just so exciting to see his chart because he does exude that. And
Mhm.
after seeing his chart, seeing his big three, seeing a little more of the layers, I'm like, oh my god, he just is this person. It's actually not an act. And again, I know I don't know him, but it was very happy to what I know about astrology and what I felt intuitively when watching the show. That's
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
he's a very special character. Oh, I
Yeah,
want to go
yeah.
on that show so bad. I would love
Oh,
for them to give me the makeover. Give me the spruce, baby.
I know. I
Come do
love
this apartment.
it. I
Just
love
kidding.
it. I also think it's interesting. I'm pretty sure that he's like a late bloomer,
Mm,
especially career-wise, which
right.
I love because makes me feel way better about myself. But
The slow burn route.
thank you, Casey.
Again, for that
Saturn,
authenticity.
yes. But yeah, Jonathan Saturn is in the sixth house, opposite
Mm,
the ascendant. So in the sixth house is Virgo's house of like work and how curate your daily habits to like work effectively and work toward goals. And um so that's interesting.
mm-hmm.
Um yeah. And Pluto and Scorpio, like our generation. Um Trine Mercury in the 10th house also gives like grit and survivor instincts. Really cool chart. But
He
yeah, very
just,
public and very like I think ultimately meant for that.
yeah. And like, again, I know that did not, I'm sure, come like easy at first.
Yeah.
It feels like it was like he had to. Like,
Yeah.
again, like I just get this like, there's just so much beautiful he is so sun energy, and there's just so much beautiful energy coming from Jonathan that I'm like, you can't contain that, it's too bright. Like again, fire, and the way that fire as an element cannot be contained.
Yeah.
Which sometimes if you're on the wrong side of the fire can be a little scary. But also like if you're friends and on the good side of that fire, again, you receive the loyalty, the
Mhm.
protection, the fire is going to fight for you and protect its other
Mhm.
elements that can't fight for
Mhm.
themselves. Like there's such a beautiful again, aspect to fire not abiding by the laws, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense, not being boxed up. Heather, real quick, I'm so sorry. Are all the fire signs not mutable?
No. All the signs within an element have one of each. So
Oh,
Sagittarius is mutable, Aries is cardinal, um, Leo's
I
fixed.
see. I see. Every element has a cardinal,
Has
a fixed,
a
and a mutable.
modality. Yeah, has one of the
Oh.
modalities. Yeah.
And what, I'm so sorry. Say it again. What is Aries?
Aries is cardinal. It's the initiator.
Cardinal.
Cardinal is like,
Mhm.
I'll start. Um,
I'll
Fixed
go
is
since nobody
like,
else volunteered. It's like my hand was up. Didn't see it. Sorry. Here we go.
Totally.
Aries
Fixed
really
is
is like,
follow through. Yeah.
it's the oldest, but it's also the baby. It's so
I
funny because
know,
it's
I
the firstborn,
know.
but
Yeah.
in that energy of fire is the youngness again, and
Mm-hmm.
the way again we said it's like Aries is the start, so it's like it can be a very self-centered energy, and then that's why it's like we had to birth Taurus was birthed right after it again to be like, all right, Aries, ground it back in, reel it in.
Mm-hmm.
And then we
Mm-hmm.
followed up with Gemini that's like, all right, loosen it up a bit, Taurus, loosen it up a little. It doesn't have to be so like, okay, like again, there's a balance, there's a flow to all of it. It's
Totally,
like,
totally.
and again, they're all woven, all these energies
Uh-huh.
interwoven and connected.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful thing. So wait, because sorry, I just wanted to do this with his top three. Aries is his cardinal, then he's Pisces moon, and Pisces is mutable,
Mutable.
correct?
Yeah.
And then his Gemini is
Mutable.
also mutable. So his
Mm-hmm.
Aries, again, yeah, he can't help. His Aries is like, and then you're gonna match me with two mutable signs. It's like you want me to win.
Yeah, yeah.
It does,
Totally.
like, and it should. His Aries should absolutely win.
It's nice with all of that too, that Mars, the planet of action, Aries ruling planet, is in
mm,
Taurus, that can ground and follow through and work diligently. Um, but I wish
Interesting.
I had
All the
more of the
better.
fire in this chart. Yeah.
Yeah. That is a beautiful thing. Aries has that explosive initiative energy. And then Taurus is also like, but don't forget, like, to put a bow on this and follow
Right?
through, not just,
Yeah.
we
Like,
can't just start something. We got to make sure we finish it. Right. And
mm-hmm,
then
mm-hmm.
Gemini's okay. And then Gemini's like, okay, but will we finish it? Are we going to put it out there? Um, and
Yeah.
then Cancer's like, and how will it be received? It's just like,
Yeah. And how's it gonna make me feel like
now that
when
it's
all
all
is
said
said and
and
done? Yeah.
been, we have the idea, we made it, we put it out there, let's process. Yeah,
Right.
that's so funny. Beautiful time, a beautiful sign, beautiful birth chart, beautiful
Beautiful,
Jonathan Van
beautiful.
Ness. Love it. Heather, shall we let the folks know just how fucking loaded this April Aries season is?
We
Or should we
shall.
keep them guessing? I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Let's give them a heads up, shall we?
Let's, Miranda, I do have to say though that I did not prepare for that. I did not have a
And it's Aries
chance.
season. We're not overthinking it. We're fucking
Um,
just actioning it out. Well, we also did speak quite a bit about, I mean, I feel like in the beginning, you did kind of prep us for what is to come, right? We've got,
yeah, let me just get some dates though, because
oh,
this is
I see.
airing on the
Fifth.
4th,
Oh, my bad.
4th,
Yes,
5th.
tomorrow is the fourth. Sorry.
So and then going till yeah, okay. So the 8th, I mean, yeah, the big thing is that we have an Aries solar eclipse on April 8th. People are predicting that like there's going to be all this traffic driving toward the path of totality, which
Hmm.
sounds like such a I
Like
just
going
love
to
that
see the
term. Yeah,
aliens. Yeah, truly like going to
in
like
a
in
Transformers
Independence
movie.
Day.
Like, yeah.
Yes, in Independence Day when they all go to like where the fucking spaceship or whatever is like above one of the buildings. I think it's in New York or it's in LA that they anyway, and all these people go to it and they bring like signs and to like communicate and then get their asses fucking blasted
Oh
anyway. But
no.
that I know I wanted to go to a place, but then so many people talked about how bad traffic would be, and the closest place I could go would be like still a 6 hour drive. And
Yeah, same.
anyways,
I wish I
but I'm
could, but
excited.
I decided to move on this day. Fuck my life. Anyway, so yeah, the new moon in Aries, which coincides with a total solar eclipse on April 8th. Again, it's like themes of whenever it's an eclipse, your life could be eclipsed depending on if it affects your chart very
Mhm.
prominently. There could be something big or small that prompts a change or sort of a direction into a new chapter. You might not even realize it till a year or two later, but that often happens.
Mhm.
But also, I mean, it's on the Aries Libra axis. So it's like and it's always revealing the shadow of something because eclipses hide part of the sunlight or part of the moonlight.
Right.
So it's
That's the
like revealing,
symbolism.
yes.
Mhm.
So it's like revealing a shadow part of yourself dealing with the Aries Libra polarity. So it could be about your relationship dynamics. It could be about give and take. It could be about needing to be more independent, putting yourself first more. It could be about money matters, like all those Aries Libra themes. Um, that's obviously the big thing. And yeah, and then Mars and Saturn form a conjunction in Pisces on April 10th, right after that,
Mm.
which is not always the most fun because Mars is action, it's Aries ruling planet, and then Saturn is obviously like restriction and life's realistic limitations. So, I don't know. It might be worth looking at where that is in your chart, but if on the 10th you want to do something and it doesn't quite happen the way you want it to, just understand that's maybe the energy.
Pisces and
And
Capricorn are battling.
yeah, I know it's
Kinda.
for real because yeah,
The
the fact
two
that it's
maybe most
Pisces too,
opposite signs, I
literally,
think, in the entire
literally.
zodiac.
I think with all these planets in Pisces, like the idea of Saturn traveling through Pisces right now is already like a contradiction to me. I'm like, how do I even handle my Saturn return being in Pisces? Because it's
Right.
like,
Those two, it's oil and water.
it literally is.
It's not
Anyway,
mixing, but
yeah.
our perspectives will tell us what we've learned from that. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And then I think right now Venus and Neptune are connecting and going to be exact in the next day or two. And that's really lovely because that's like very romantic. You know, Neptune is Pisces and Venus is Libra
Mhm.
Taurus. So it's like love and romance, but then also that higher spiritual um big emotion added to that. But they
Right.
also say beware of like delusion or bring it back to reality. And oh, I fucking hate reality. Anyway, um
Why must we? Why? Why do we have to be real? Just kidding.
it's exhausting.
Just kidding. It is
No, I am
Aries.
kidding. But yeah, that's
That's
it.
really interesting. And then that is just funny that you say that because again, Venus, the planet, it symbolizes or like when it's in your chart, depending on where it is, yada yada. Venus symbolically, as we talked about earlier, it's like your passions, your values, also sometimes like literally like values in terms of money, yes, values also in morals. And April, I found out, is like is like financial literacy month. Um
Oh, I've been getting ads now that you mention it. Yeah.
and I've been really recently like, okay, I hear you, universe. I'll get a jump start
I
on
know.
getting more financially literate. What? In my 30s.
Mhm.
Anyway, I just felt like that's you just reminded me of that. That's interesting too.
Yeah, that is. Because I've been thinking, like, why? I mean, and there's other reasons with my specific natal chart where there's a lot of like financial activations right now. But it's true. Like, I'm thinking more and more about how when you're in a sign, you can't just think about that sign. It really is like helpful to think about like the axis that it rides or like the
Mhm.
opposite sign because that'll
Where
be
it
activated
is.
too. Yeah. So
Right,
like,
symbolically what it's doing right now. Yeah, there's always a lot to look at. Um But again, it was so funny having a moment of like, what the fuck is going on today? And being like, oh my God, Mercury just Mercury's in retrograde.
mhm.
Like truly, like I know that that's the meme, right? And that's the joke. And if you don't really know astrology, that'll be the thing people joke about and say like, oh, it's Mercury in retrograde.
Yeah, it's
And it's
always in
like,
retrograde.
but it kind of is. And I was really feeling it.
Yeah, no, it's no joke, honestly.
It was the
It's-
meme for me, but what have you? It's Aries season. I'm not here to educate. I'm here to do my actions and be rewarded for it.
Mhm.
In the polite Jonathan Van Ness way. Thank you
Yes,
very
of
much.
course, of course.
Uh,
With that
beautiful,
Pisces
beautiful.
Gemini.
That Pisces Gemini. Him and I are so alike. Just
I
kidding.
know.
Beautiful. Heather, just what an amazing time. Your move is going to be explosive and exciting, not in the diarrhea way, in
Yeah,
the
I hope.
fun,
I hope.
fiery, igniting way. Um,
Thank you.
folks, enjoy, listeners, enjoy that total solar eclipse. We are in the layers now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We'll be firing away on all cylinders. And with that, love you, listeners.
Love you.
Love you, Heather.
Bye. Love you so much, Miranda.
Infinite abundance, bitches.
Infinite
Truthfully.
abundance.
Au revoir.